Hello, beautiful souls. I am Awakened Soul, and today we're going to review Bitcoin as it made a big move to the downside. We're going to set up our next trade, and I'm going to show you what I think and what's going on, okay? So everyone breathe, relax. Everything's going to be okay. Let's start off on our weekly here, right? Just so we could get a bigger perspective view of what's going on. Let's turn on our magnet. We're going to do one touch, two touches, and remember our monthly trend lines are red. Okay, then right here we're gonna do one touch, two touches. Wonderful. And this is just to visualize, right? I like to use the 12 and the 26 EMA. Let me just go ahead and turn off the rest. So the 12 and 26 EMA have been critical EMAs for me to see if price action is bullish or bearish. Monthly price action right now is technically bullish because price action's above the 12 and the 26. Has the 12 and 26 crossed? Not exactly. It's just a good visual. We have this monthly trend line that we broke to the downside. It looks like we came up. We're retesting. Let's move on to our daily. Within our weekly. Right, within our weekly, let's set support and resistance lines, turning on our pivot highs and lows. Okay, this would be our high, and weeklies are orange. This will be our low. Okay, so on the weekly, just looking at it, we're bullish, right? It's still holding our support here. So we're also going to do some trend lines here using my higher high, lower low indicator that I really like to use. Do I have two? I don't. Usually I have two overlapping, but I'm using a new profile here. So here I'm just gonna mark some trend lines and visualize where the next possible move is. And again, just concentrating on price action. We have this support here. So from this trend line to this most current lower high here, like a falling wedge going on here. Okay. So like I said, we're just trying to see what can we see here. Let's move on to our daily. Okay. Within our daily, as we can see here, we have this M forming. M for Maria. So we do some trend lines within the daily. We have one touch, two touches. Right on our trend line right now. That is yellow. So for me, this is critical right here. We break this trend line to the downside. Even though we wicked it, it's not a confirmed break till there's a candle close below it. Till this is broken, then the support is broken, obviously. So we're gonna do a one touch, two touches, as this is our resistance support. So it looks like a ascending megaphone here, right? So that's where we are at this time. Just looking at it and visualizing, right? And the market makers like working in threes. I've said one, two, right? We could still have a third push to the upside. What's not, that could definitely happen. Let's move in. It's in a critical, beautiful drop there. So it's in a critical moment now to actually do a long or a short, right? We have to be aware of our RSI. Not really. Sure. I do want to show you this though. The money flow index. hope it's this one. No, why did it pop up? Other indicator. Let's get rid of this. Sorry, I'm never prepared. I just go with the flow. I just looking to see what I see. So right here where it's bouncing, right here where it stopped, right, we have this pool of money flow. It's showing on the 15 minutes, right? So we're definitely going to have a consolidation here. Of course, if we break this zone, this contraction phase, we're coming down. Like there's no floor at all. Another thing that could be possible, let me show you, right, is a head and shoulders, right, like I mentioned, but using this as a neckline and then coming here, like using this support or weekly support as the neckline. So I was thinking about that too. So something to consider, of course, if we hold here. Okay, so let's look into our next setup. That's what I'm visualizing right now. That's what I'm seeing right now. So let's go into the 4 hours. 4-hour trend lines are critical for me. So let's draw some 4-hour trend lines here. Remember, 1 touch, 2 touches, and 4 hours are green. Okay. We're gonna go from this low to this low. 4-hour trend line. Just trying to focus on this price action here. I mean, if I was to draw this trend line right from 1 touch to 2 touches here, or even from 1 touch to 2 touch, we have a target here. We have a target of price could come down to 21,491 right now if it doesn't hold. And yes, this megaphone would be invalidated, but check this out too. If this megaphone is invalidated, we could have another one just playing out just like this. Right? So we have 2 scenarios, and that would give us this 1 touch, 2 touch target. Damn, that's beautiful. See, 1 touch, 2 touches, and this is the highest peak, right? And it hit right on target. That's amazing, right there. That's crazy. So that's something to consider, right? This broadening wedge, and it could come and wick all the way here. And let's not just say that people think like it's over, right? And it could bounce right back. So that's another thing to consider. So let's go back to the possibility of that ascending megaphone based on this wick and here, right? So let's just focus on this contraction area. Again, make a range. The most important thing is for you to make a range within using your higher high, lower low, right? Let's go ahead and mark this to 3. Beautiful. Let's come down to the 5-minute. Right, everything looks pretty bearish here, but this is the moment, this is the time where when people are afraid and scared, guess what the smart money is doing? They're buying, right? Look at that pull. Like if you go to the past, and even with this drop, there is no sell pull. So that's what I'm like questioning this drop, right? There's no sell orders. So I definitely see a big push to the upside here right now. Of course, I could be so wrong as everything's so weak, And if I am, it's okay, because if you just take this, like I mentioned, I already told you, we'll have this megaphone, right? And my next target would be right here. So it's important to have your target. So this is my next target if this is invalidated. And if we cross the support, right, we could bounce off this yellow trend line to create that huge megaphone. So there's a couple of things going on right now in my head. Where is this? I'm gonna delete here. Okay, let's go back to our zone. How do you determine to get a short or a long end? So in most cases, when there's a big drop like that, there's always a retracement, right? Within the 5 minutes, you could set this range, marking your high, marking your low. Wait for it to confirm a break. So when this breaks, wait, retrace. You want to see follow through. So this is a validated move. So wait for it to break this lower high, wait for the retrace, and try to enter at higher lows with stop loss, you know, somewhere over here at higher lows, or even under lower lows if you feel comfortable with it. Of course, if it, and just based on this drop again, most moves will give you a retrace of at least 50%, right? So if you throw a fib from the top to the bottom, right, we could at least retrace to 50%. So that's something to consider. And let's say if we go down, it's okay. This is a great entry. If we go down, it's probably going to be fast. You could always set a limit order here for you know, not right on the lower low, because it could give you that H and like double bottom. So watch it. And you could ride it to the bottom, because as you can see, drops could be really fast. Okay, so that's what I have for you. I do see a big possibility of this being a nice long, even though it seems a little bit scary and all the news of the world. And I do think we're going to 12K one day this year, but that's just my personal thoughts. So consider what I've showed you today. Consider this range, beautiful range for your next setup to get that long and play this ascending megaphone, or you could play a beautiful short to my 4-hour target of 21,494, or again within this huge megaphone too. That could be a possibility too. Alright guys, thank you so much. Much love, and remember to do everything with love.